We'd like to welcome everyone and call the meeting of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners to order. First, we'll be led in prayer by Commissioner Turner. Then next, Commissioner Serino will lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Let's pray. Father, it is good to be here again this evening, Lord. We're thankful for the opportunity that we've been afforded to represent our constituents, and we just ask that this evening that we honor you with our words and our actions towards each other, that we're respectful, and that we give deep thought and consideration to the items that we're going to be voting on tonight. I also want to pray for our sheriff and his wife, Megan, as they mourn the loss of her father. Lord, I just ask that you be with them and that you grant them the peace that can only come through your Spirit, and watch over them as they travel and be with their family through a tough time like this. Bless us again tonight as we go through the business of the people. We give you the praise and we ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Schaefer. Here. Commissioner Piercy. Here. Commissioner Jordan. Here. Commissioner P. Here. Commissioner Cook. Here. Commissioner Jernigan. Here. Commissioner Cush. Present. Commissioner Reed. Here. Commissioner Gurley. Here. Commissioner Turner. Here. Commissioner Allen. Here. Commissioner Stevens. Here. Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Baum. Here. Commissioner Nipper. Commissioner Dodd, here. Commissioner Phillips, here. Commissioner McAdoo, here. Commissioner Kaplan, Commissioner Gooch, here. Commissioner Serino. Here. We have a quorum with 19 present.
Commissioner Johnson is here. I don't believe.
I didn't hear. I'm sorry, we have 20 present.
20 present. Thank you. Okay. You've received a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. Commissioner Phillips, what is your report?
Thank you, Mayor Burgess. I reviewed those minutes. I find them in order, and I move that they be approved and we dispense with the reading.
Second, Mrs. Cook. Anyone have any additions or questions? All right, everyone in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Next, we have a resolution of sympathy that will be read by Commissioner Jordan on behalf of a wonderful man that we've lost, Mr. Jim Baker.
I know Mr. Baker's daughter, Miss Connie Holbrook's in the audience. If you want to come up here or stay in your seat, whichever you want to do. I knew Mr. Baker most of my life. Big Jim, I called him. Most people called him. He was a man's man, if there ever was one. He will be missed. Welcome, Connie. Resolution of sympathy. Whereas it was with great sadness that the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners learned of the death of James O. Jim Baker, a friend of many. And whereas Mr. Baker was preceded in death by his wife of 56 years, Mary Louise Sharp Baker, who died in 2014. He is survived by daughter Constance Lynn, Connie Baker Holbrook, and her husband Bobby, son Mark Lee Baker, and his wife Michelle Harris Baker, all of Murfreesboro, and 3 granddaughters. Whereas Mr. Baker began working at Middle Tennessee Electric Membership Cooperative in 1960. In 1979, he became Assistant General Manager, was appointed President of MTEMC in 1980, where he remained until his retirement in 2003. Whereas Mr. Baker served as Chairman of the Rutherford County Industrial Development Board and the Rutherford County Tax Equalization Board for many years, and whereas he was a member of the Rutherford County Sportsman's Club, the Lions Club, and the Lions Club for many years, and was known for his love of the outdoors, hunting, fishing, and cooking for many charity events throughout the years. Whereas he and his wife were been members of North Boulevard Church of Christ since 1960, and whereas we know that his passing has caused great sadness to his family and friends. Therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners this regular session on the 12th day of May 2016 does hereby extend sincere sympathy to the family of Mr. James O. Jim Baker. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution of sympathy be forwarded to the family of Mr. Baker by the clerk of this legislative body. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second, Commissioner Piercy and P and others. All of you in favor, please say aye. 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 Thank you very much. And certainly we express on behalf of everyone in Rutherford County the great man of service that Mr. Baker was, and so many, many things he did, not really expecting any thanks, he just really had a servant's heart. So thank you very, very much. Okay, next is a period of public comments. And I'll just review the sort of our rules of engagement here. This is a period of 30 minutes allowed, and each person will have 3 minutes. And we ask you to come forward, give your name and address, and make your comments. And I would appreciate respectively if we don't have too much participation, cheering or clapping or otherwise. So let's keep this a bit orderly. So our first person speaking is Mr. Donald Todd.
My name is Donald Todd, and I live at 633 Buck Lane. Do we want financial collapse or prosperity? By June 30th of each fiscal year, Rutherford County Commissioners vote to appropriate expenditure of revenues in at least 7 or 8 different funds to be used for specific purposes in operating the governmental business of the county. These individual appropriations are to be used for purposes other than for the purpose of making investments to several banks. But when an excessive appropriation occurs in any particular fund, a surplus unspent revenue balance will be left over in each of the 7 or 8 different county funds. It is not legitimate or proper to use this surplus revenue for purposes other than the purpose for which the appropriations were originally made. When you examine the trustees' financial report on March 31st, 2016, you will see that Rutherford County has improperly used balances of surplus revenue to make 3 major investments at several banks. $50 million in money market investments, $43 million in CD investments, and $85 million in LGIP number 1 investments. In some cases, the rate of interest for these LGIP investments is as low as 0.09%, which is earned by the county. With these money market and CD investments, these surplus revenues will be removed from the budgetary process. And because of this process, and because the banks have control of this surplus revenue, the county can no longer use this money to pay off any part of the total debt of the county, which currently has reached a total of $1.5 billion. Is it possible that Rutherford County wants to prevent any reduction in our huge debt? God forbid. Thank you.
Next, Marty Rothschild.
Cool. Good evening. My name is Marty Rothschild. I'm the general manager of the Embassy Suites Murfreesboro. And yes, I reside in the hotel, 1200 Conference Center Drive. I've been here for about 30 days. Mayor Burgess, fellow commissioners, thank you for letting me speak. I'd like to talk about the proposed increase to the hotel tax. When word of the tax came out, it was made very clear to me that many of our decision makers were very concerned about increased expenses for their groups coming to my hotel. A lot of them have their decisions on hold pending the outcome of this vote and a possible vote in the city. If you vote to increase this tax, we run the risk of losing a significant amount of business, which will counteract any tax increase in terms of having extra revenue to spend as you see fit. In addition, it will make our tax rate significantly higher than any of our competing counties and other regions outside of the state. So I'm asking you to think about it very carefully and understand that a vote for this tax could have the exact opposite impact of what you think it might be. And as an aside, I just signed a contract to purchase a home in the county, outside of the city. And my research on that purchase showed me how low the property taxes are here in this county. In the South, I've lived in Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, and your tax here is by far the lowest. And I don't know how you all have done what you've done so far to provide the services and the infrastructure to make Rutherford County and Murfreesboro such a great place. So if you want to raise my property tax for fire engines, that's good. I'll vote for it and I'll pay it. But please don't put a tax increase on the backs of my guests, because a lot of them will go somewhere else and it won't have the impact that you're looking for. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Next, we have Mr. Greg Adkins.
Hello. Thank you very much, Mayor, and thank you to the County Commission. My name is Greg Adkins. I'm the President and CEO of the Tennessee Hospitality Association. I live at 605 Hogan Road, Nashville, Tennessee. Our association represents over 1,600 hospitality businesses consisting of hotels, restaurants, attractions, marinas, and all businesses related to hospitality and tourism. TNHTA and our partners adamantly oppose one of the largest combined sales and lodging taxes in the United States. I want to thank the Rutherford County Commission for taking the time to allow me to be here and to speak to you. You'll hear lots of constituents from our business speak to you. Currently, the Tennessee hospitality and tourism industry is the second largest in the state of Tennessee, bringing in over $16.2 billion in direct tourist spending. Our industry supports over 10% of the workforce, representing more than 300,000 jobs, with a $5.7 billion in payroll. The hospitality industry is one of the largest taxpayers in the state of Tennessee and pays over $1 billion in federal, state, and local taxes. Specifically here in Rutherford County, you have had sweet success in the hospitality business with over $307.4 million of economic impact, approximately 3,000 jobs, $45.7 million in payroll, and over $6.5 million in local taxes. These are huge numbers. I often use Rutherford County as a success across the country and also in the state of Tennessee when I speak to groups. I'm on several national boards, and this would be one of the highest in the nation. Our industry is committed to addressing unfair, single industry targeted taxes proposed for the tourism industry. Today, you will hear passionate testimony from several of our industry leaders and respectfully arguing that this is a very bad idea, especially on the success that you have built here. If you pass this tax and the city tax, it will be a combined rate of 19.75%, which is higher than Nashville, Tennessee, a true destination city. You'll even be uncompetitive with your neighboring county, Williamson County. It will be very hard for you to compete for the successful sports events that you have here in Rutherford County. Mayor, I'd like to submit petitions and letters opposing the tax. Is it okay that I hand these to you, sir?
Sure.
We would not be here protesting the tax today if it was not a real issue. This is not a game for our industry. This is not something that we made up. This is a very real situation. Our members have invested millions of dollars in this community. Please vote no.
Next, Mr. Mike Tansel.
Mayor Burgess and County Commissioners, thank you for letting us come tonight to voice our opinion on this matter, because it is something that's very important. I had some strategic notes here made out, but I'm just going to speak from my heart. I look at the lodging industry as being a strategic partner. We all want revenue, we all want growth, and we all talk about the housing industry, we all talk about people coming in for sporting events from all over the country that comes here. We got corporations like Amazon, we got corporations like Bridgestone and MTSU and everybody else, State Farm, that brings in people all over the country to have training sessions here. We know that basically we're in a competitive state with Wilson County, with Williamson, Wilson, and Davidson County. Why would you put yourself at such a strategic disadvantage by having the highest tax rate in the state? The lodging industry is a strategic partner with the Chamber of Commerce, with every other retail business in town. People come here to spend money. But if they can stay for a little cheaper money, and when you're looking at bigger groups, we're talking about a lot of money. So really and truly, it's not a wise decision. Secondly, if I don't care who you are, I wouldn't even double your taxes, 100% increase, no matter how distasteful I felt about you. I mean, we're a conservative nation, we're a conservative county, we've been known as being conservative. But raising somebody's taxes 100%, I don't think that sends a very good picture for any type of business that wants to relocate here. They think, well, I might be the next one down the pike to get my taxes raised 100%. We don't need that. We don't need that image. We need to show that we're pro-business, we're strategic partners, especially with the lodging industry. These gentlemen have spent millions of dollars. And you go up and down I-24, look at all the investments that have taken place. Look at everything that's going on business-wise. We all need the tax revenue, and we all need to be supportive of it. And let's just use common sense. And please vote no. Thank you.
Mr. Mike Bowman.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commission. My name is Mike Bowman, and I began my career in the hospitality industry here in 1995 as a sales manager for the Garden Plaza Hotel way back in the day, which is now the DoubleTree. Then in 1999, I became director of sales for the Holiday Inn Express and the Fairfield Inn and Suites, also here in Murfreesboro. During this time, I've seen a lot of changes in the community and in this industry. And speaking of time, over the last few years, there has been discussions regarding the need for government to be transparent in order to build trust. However, 2 weeks ago, we woke up to an article in the DNJ about the proposed hotel tax increase after passing the First County Commission Public Safety Committee meeting. The hospitality industry is concerned about this tax as there has been no input from the lodging industry. The tourism industry and the government have worked together as partners for several years and have created a successful and thriving venture where both of us have benefited tremendously. Yet here we are tonight, as you can see with this great showing of folks that we have back here in the back, to let you know that this is not the way to be a partner. There has been no economic impact or feasibility study done by the county or city. Why has this study not been done? Not every committee has voted on the ordinance. Why did the Budget and Finance Committee not vote? There has been very little public input in the process, as only one speaker from our industry was allowed to speak at the steering committee and none at the Budget Committee. In spite of the record hotel tax collections over the last several years, and with revenues already exceeding our budget in the current year, it seems that government is desperate for revenue and is going to extreme measures to initiate the highest lodging tax in the nation, and is penny wise and pound foolish. Generally, good tax policy encourages economic growth and fairness. In an article titled Guiding Principles of Good Tax Policy, it states, a tax system should not impede productivity, but should be aligned with the taxing jurisdiction's economic goals. The system should not favor one industry or type of investment at the expense of others. This tax is bad tax policy as it does not align with tourism, growth, and punishes one industry within the county. As we have heard, this tax is allowed by state law. However, with respect, just as law allows us to smoke 3 packs a day, this probably is not a good idea. Just because we can raise this tax, risking the chance that conventions will go elsewhere and taking that revenue with them, does not mean you should pass this tax either. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. May God bless.
Mr. Jacob Hall.
Burgess, and to the commission, thank you for giving me this time to speak. My name is Jacob Hall, and I reside at 4220 Nandina Court, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I am your president of the Rutherford County Hospitality Association. I have come here today to tell you that unanimously our association does oppose this tax. Everybody's talked about studies, and there's not been one out there. A study by the American Economics Group entitled Room Taxes for the Economic Impact of the Lodging Industry found that a 2%, now this is a 2%, not 100%, increase in room tax resulted in a 2.4% reduction in room sales and visitor spending. Can Rutherford County afford this decrease? Because as I see it, as 100%, you may be looking at a 20% sales tax, but a 20% decrease. You know, Greg talked about the $307 million that we bring in to this community that saves each of us, you and I, $252 a year on our property taxes. If our tourism spending goes down, what will you do next after you've raised this tax? You will have to raise property taxes. We will have to pay for services. As a member of the city and the county, I pay for everything, and I enjoy it, and I love this county. Lodging taxes should be reinvested also into tourism. You talked in the steering committee about taking away the 30% that we've always received if you raise this tax. This money goes back to our CVB and our Chamber of Commerce to bring in more money every year. We have numbers that say that for every dollar we spend in marketing, it's a $19 return. Allow us to do our jobs and make you money without making anybody mad. Again, the Rutherford County Hospitality Association opposes this tax. Please vote no.
Mr. Rashan Patel.
Good evening. My name is Roshan Patel. I reside at 4156 Outer Drive in Nashville, Tennessee. I am the owner of the Hilton Garden Inn off of Medical Center Parkway. Recently opened up about 2 years ago. We also have 2 hotels under construction off of North Thompson. So we know what a significant investment that we have made as a group into this county. So we understand that taxes and tourism go hand in hand. We raise taxes, we lose business. That's a fact. Hotels in development will realize the cost of these taxes when they come into the feasibility studies, whether they're developing in Smyrna, Laverne, Murfreesboro. It'll definitely impact developers to come in because of the fact that they've already seen what's going on here. They can take their developments to different counties. In Rutherford County, we pay, as developers, the highest tap fees, what we call for connectivity to the county water, sewer. As far as our group is concerned, it's the highest in the Southeast at $125,000, which we paid off from Medical Center, which will obviously in turn pay in North Thompson Lane. Property taxes will average around $130,000. So just put those two put together, we've already reinvested $250,000 back into the city and the county budget without a question. We understand that the infrastructure has to be in place for us to build hotels and connect into, which is fine. There's no argument there. But when you're taxing our backs and our consumers that we're trying to get back into this county, to get back into our hotels, to in turn pay the hotel and motel taxes, this is definitely a detrimental impact for us. Hoteliers, along with the local tourism offices, have helped create an engine that has sustained tourism and which has put literally Murfreesboro on the map to where it's at today. It is almost a destination city, which a tax like this will impact. I can't stress that enough. To raise a tax to the highest level in the state and maybe even in the nation is preposterous. The mayor has been on record at the steering committee stating that, hey, the money is not going to go back towards tourism. The money is going into the general fund, whether they're budget deficits or whatnot. And I quote from a news article in the DNJ where Lisa Nolan, the finance director, said, "We expect that our revenues will grow and we'll be able to use that to help fund next year's budget. This year's revenues have already exceeded our budgets in the current year. That will increase our reserves." So if they've already increased, where is this tax going to go in the future? So where's that money going to be appropriated? I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Is Sandra Robertson.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for allowing me this time to speak to you. My name is Sandra Robertson. I reside at 161 Jenkins Road in Lebanon, Tennessee. I'm the general manager for the DoubleTree by Hilton here in Murfreesboro. I've worked in the hotel industry for over 20 years, and I was shocked to learn of this proposed tax increase and the purpose for the increase. As a hotelier, we promise our guests clean and comfortable accommodations at a reasonable price. This proposed tax will not make that price reasonable. There's empirical evidence that a total tax rate of 19.75% won't work. In 1990, New York increased their total tax rate to 21.25% and lost much of their group business. Once they realized their mistake, they dropped the tax rate back down to 15.25% and gained back a lot of their business. Over the years, our hoteliers have worked hard with the CVB and the Chamber of Commerce to recruit sports teams to our area. I think all of you have seen the signs, welcome TSSAA. They host over 8 events in our county each year. We cannot afford to lose even one of those. Much of our group business relies on what's called a meeting planner professional. They actually get quotes for rooms and meeting space and take that back to their clients. And I doubt very seriously they're going to want to take back these totals that we're talking about. They have to show savings to their clients. In order to be successful, I have to anticipate my guest needs, and as I said earlier, my guests need lower cost. In order to compete with our surrounding counties, I have to be competitive in the total cost of a room. This tax increase will not allow me to do that. As a general manager, most every decision I make is based on profit and loss. I'm all about numbers. So maybe this example will help you to understand how devastating this tax increase could be, not only to my bottom line, but to this community. If I lose one guest today, just one, because of this tax increase, I could lose over $58,000 in his year time. $58,000 for one guest that I've lost. I guarantee you we're going to lose a lot more than one guest because there's counties all around us with lower taxes. I think we just have to look at the numbers when you make this decision, and the numbers don't lie. We don't want to have one of the highest taxes in the United States. Please vote no. Thank you.
Mr. Pete Dowdy.
Pete Dowdy, 1415 Knight Drive, Murfreesboro. I'm here tonight to support the tax increase and the mayor's proposal. Now, I think that everybody's gotten up here so far has talked about the almighty dollar. Let's talk about the safety of your guest. I don't think you want to, the guys that are with the fire and rescue, I know an awful lot of them. And I know what they go through and the type of conditions that they have to work in also. So I don't think you're going to want to put a disclaimer on the bottom of the sheet when they check in, saying that you might not want to go outside of the city limits because if there's an accident, the time to get there to you might take a little longer than if in the city. You know, sounds like a ridiculous thing to be saying, but there's an awful lot of people coming to this community, and a couple of you have said something about the highest bed tax in the country, perhaps. I came from Bishop, California, which is not down in L.A., and it's a town of about 3,500 people. They have one street of nothing but nice hotels. It's 9.5 and has been for years. None of those motels have gone out of business as of this morning at 6 o'clock when I called them, 6 o'clock their time. But anyway, more people are coming to this community. They are going to need the services in the outlying areas as well as your guests. And I don't know of anybody that travels that doesn't have money or hadn't planned to spend money when they come through places like the Nashville area and this community. We're all growing, and I think to jump on a proposal for raising the tax when you say 100%, well, that'd scare anybody. But was it 5% they're talking about? That's not the highest in the nation. And even if what the city should do, they should do the same thing. So make it 10% and let the city put their money into tourism, and let the county put their money into safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is elections and confirmations, and we'll call on Commissioner Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, if you'll look on your iPad, you'll see a list of notaries that we need to approve. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for their approval.
And a second from Commissioner Piercy. All right, anyone have any additions or corrections there? If not, all of you in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye. Next, steering would like to fill the vacancy on the Industrial Development Board and the Health, Education, and Facilities Board. This would be to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Baker. The term is set to expire in August of 2019. Mr. Chairman, steering recommends Dr. Nate Schott, and I make a motion for his approval.
Second by Commissioner Johnson and others. All of you in favor of that, then please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, steering would like to fill 3 vacancies and 1 alternate vacancy on the Equalization Board. Steering would like to nominate Mr. Tim Rudd, Mr. Joe Phillips, Mr. Eliah Goodman, and as the alternate, Mr. John Barbie. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for their approval.
And a second, Commissioner Nipper and P. and others. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Steering would like to announce 2 vacancies on the Linebaugh Library Board, and steering would also like to announce 2 vacancies on the Community Care Board. And that's our report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Turner. The next item is a resolution to approve the consent agenda. Commissioner Phillips, please.
Thank you, Mayor Burgess. I've also reviewed it. I find every item on there appropriate, barring anyone wishing to move any item for discussion. I move that the consent agenda be approved.
And a second from Commissioner Sereno. Does anyone wish to have any item removed? Seeing none, then please call the roll.
Commissioner Schaefer? Yes. Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Jordan?
That's my error. Let's start over, Lisa, okay?
Sure.
We don't have to do that. We'll make it a little bit faster. All right, please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Okay, record the votes, please.
20 yes, motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. We do not have any unfinished business. There are no public hearings tonight. We are ready for our reports by our standing committees. Commissioner Jordan, Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee, please.
Item L1A, General Fund Budget Amendment. Be resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the general fund be amended as follows. Sheriff's Office increase food supplies, $130,000. Decrease unassigned fund balance, $130,000. Self-insured claims, increase expenditures judgment, $400,000. And decrease unassigned fund balance, $400,000. That's supposed to be enough food to get through the end of the budget year, and We've had a settlement or two to pay out, and that's what the judgments are. Resolve this 12th day of May 2016. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
And a second from Mr. Phillips. Any further discussion or questions on that? All right, please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
I had a glitch. Please note whether or not you have cast your vote now that I've posted it again. Commissioner Jernigan, Commissioner Sereno.
Now everyone has voted then. Record the votes, please.
20 yes, motion passes.
L1B, resolution to commit refunds from software company. Whereas funds in the amount of $250,000 were received as a refund on a previous software purchase in the Circuit Court Clerk's office and should be committed from unassigned fund balance at June 30, 2016 for a future software purchase by the Circuit Court Clerk. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that $250,000 shall be committed from unassigned fund balance at June 30, 2016 for a future software purchase by the Circuit Court Clerk. Resolved this 12th day of May, 2016. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
And a second from Commissioner Gooch, was that correct? Any questions or discussion? All right, please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
20 yes, motion passes.
Item L1C, resolution authorizing the issuance of general obligation school bonds. A resolution authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $44,500,000 in aggregate principal amount in one or more series of general obligation school bonds of Rutherford County, Tennessee for the purpose of financing county schools and sharing proceeds as required by law, making provisions for the issuance, sale, and payment of said bonds, establishing the terms thereof and the disposition of proceeds therefrom, and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of principal of premium, if any, and interest on the bonds. And following that is several pages on how that will be done. You feel free to read at your own leisure. But this is just the actual mechanism of the previous school projects we have approved. Mr. Chairman, I so move.
And a second from Commissioner P. Anyone have any questions or further discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes, please.
20 yes, motion passes.
Okay. There is not a report tonight from the Health and Education Committee, or the Property Management Committee, or the Public Safety Committee, or the Public Works Committee. Next on the agenda is Steering Legislative and Governmental Committee. Commissioner Gooch, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, Steering has 3 items for your consideration this evening. The first is a resolution to establish a 7-member Board of Zoning Appeals Committee and to eliminate 2 alternate positions. Whereas, Mr. Chair, Tennessee Code Annotated 137106 authorizes a County Board of Zoning Appeals of 5, 7, or 9 members. And where it is in the best interest of the citizens of Rutherford County for the county to establish a 7-member Board of Zoning Appeals with no alternative positions, now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the County Commission authorize, approves, and hereby establishes a 7-member Board of Zoning Appeals with no alternate positions effective October 1, 2016. Resolve this the 12th day of May 2016. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second, Commissioner Cush and others. Anyone have any questions or discussion? If not, all of you in favor of that, then please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Second, there is a resolution to approve a litigation fee of $50 and $10. Whereas Tennessee Code Annotated 674601 permits counties to levy all or any of the 3 litigation taxes authorized under TCA 674-601B1, B5, and B6, so long as each tax is adopted and its proceeds are used in accordance with the applicable statutory requirements. And whereas the county currently levies privilege taxes on litigation pursuant to TCA 674-601B5, B6, whereas pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated 674-601H, notwithstanding any law to the contrary, any county having a population of less than 262,600, nor more than 262,700, according to the 2010 federal census, or any subsequent federal census, may, upon the adoption of a resolution by 2/3 majority vote of the county legislative body, levy additional privilege tax on litigation in all civil and criminal cases in an amount not to exceed $50 per case, to be used for jail construction and maintenance, workhouse construction and maintenance, juvenile detention center construction and maintenance, or courthouse construction and maintenance, or to retire debt, including principal and interest and related expenses on such jail, workhouse, juvenile detention center, and courthouse construction and maintenance projects, whereas pursuant to TCA 674601B1, notwithstanding any other law to the contrary, each county by resolution of its legislative body adopted by 2/3 majority vote shall levy a privilege tax on litigation in all civil and criminal cases instituted in the county, other than those instituted in municipal courts, in addition to all other such privilege taxes authorized by law, in an amount not to exceed $10 per case, and the proceeds shall be used exclusively for the purpose of jail or workhouse construction, reconstruction, or upgrading, or to retire debt, including principal and interest and related expenses on such construction, reconstruction, or upgrading, or for courthouse renovation. And now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that all of the above referenced privilege taxes on litigation be and hereby are levied on the maximum amount permitted by statute as set forth herein above, and that the proceeds of the same shall be used for the exclusive purposes permitted by statute as set forth herein above. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect July 1, 2016, in the public welfare requiring it. Resolve this the 12th day of May 2016. I so move, Mr. Chair.
And a second from Commissioner Jordan, and was that Mr. Turner, I believe, as well. Anyone have any questions? Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had one question. Do we have to wait until July 1st for this to be effective, or could we make it effective June 1st of this year?
I believe we can make that effective with the, I'd have to read the actual statute that was passed, but I think it's effective with the passage of the statute. So we could make it earlier. Is that correct, Mr. McCrary?
It's got, right. We could make it effective with the effective date of the statute, but most of those laws are effective July 1. So I think that's where the July 1 effective date came from. I suppose you could theoretically, I thought I had that signed law in front of me, but I don't. I have the bill, which doesn't tell us the effective date. So you could possibly amend it to make it effective with the effective date of the new law, and then if it happens to be more sooner than July 1, it would become effective sooner than July 1.
I think if we worded it that way, it would be effective like now, and people tomorrow would have to pay the $60.
Only if the underlying law was effective right now. In other words, I don't know if the underlying law has an effective date of July 1. Does that make sense?
I don't remember reading that in there.
I haven't seen the actual signed bill, okay? I mean,
Well, I asked because if we make it effective June 1st instead of July 1st, it'll bring in about $100,000 more that we can put toward our bonds. So I would hate to leave that money on the table when we could start imposing that fee on June 1st if that's a possibility.
we want to be sure that we have enough time for our clerk to actually get these changes made within the system, and I haven't asked her how much time that might take. So I wouldn't want to say it's effective today because I'm pretty sure it can't be done tomorrow, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right, well, two and a half weeks should be plenty of time to make the change.
Possible. Well, maybe you can amend the motion to include the effective date, June 1st, if possible, or later, depending on the ability of our clerk to change that software.
Okay, so I'll make a motion then to amend the effective date to June 1st, 2016, if lawful, but if not, no later than July 1st, 2016.
Got a second from Mr. Turner. All right, you hear, we have an amendment to the motion, and basically says make this effective June the 1st, if at all possible, depending on the legal aspects of this, and if not, no later than July the 1st. Okay, any other questions or discussions? Do you understand the amendment? If so, all of you in favor of that amendment, please say aye. Any opposed? All right, so now we're back to the original motion to institute the additional $60 in litigation taxes for all criminal and civil cases. Are you ready to vote? So please cast your votes then, please.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes, please.
19 yes, 1 abstain. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Please continue.
Finally, is a resolution to approve a 2.5% increase in the hotel motel tax with no sharing of the increased funds. Whereas, Mr. Chairman, by private act, Rutherford County is authorized to collect up to 5% hotel motel tax for lodging. And whereas Rutherford County currently collects 2.5%, with 30% revenue directed to the Chamber of Commerce, 10% to the Greenway Trail in Murfreesboro, and 60% for other county purposes. And whereas the steering, legislative, and governmental committee recommends that the hotel motel tax be increased from 2.5% to 5% and be distributed 15% of revenue to the Chamber of Commerce, 5% to the Greenway Trail, and 80% to other county purposes. Now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that effective July 1, 2016, the hotel motel tax for lodging in Rutherford County be 5%, with 15% of revenues directed to the Chamber of Commerce, 5% to the Greenway Trail, and 80% to other county purposes. Resolved this the 12th day of May, 2016. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second, Commissioner Reed. Any questions or discussion? Mr. Baum.
If we vote on this right now, I'm concerned we're voting on this before we really see the extent to which we need the dollars from the tax increase. We're going through the budget process right now. The Budget Committee is reviewing a proposed budget, and it may be the case that the Budget Committee can find ways to find savings so that this tax increase would not be necessary. I can tell you at the moment that the general fund in the current proposed budget does face a shortfall, but the school's budget does not. And since schools represent about 75% of our budget, a big chunk of the budget does not require a tax increase. Now, without a doubt, the Budget Committee has some work to do to make the general fund portion of the budget balance. But I'd like to give the Budget Committee a chance to do this. It is also possible that when we learn more information about our revenues that are coming in, we may find that we have larger amounts in our unassigned fund balances than we are projecting at the moment. So it's possible that we may very much need these tax dollars, but it's also possible that the Budget Committee could find ways to avoid this tax increase so that it's not necessary at this time, and we just don't know that tonight.
Any other questions or discussion? I don't see anyone. Commissioner P.
Well, I was just going to mention, if this does pass, and that's money that's going into our general fund, and we don't need it, it's possible that we could actually reduce our property taxes.
Okay. What's that, sir? Call for the question, Mr. Gooch. Is there a second? Was that Commissioner Cook? We have a call for the question. All of those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? No. Please cast your votes. Calling the question.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes, please.
13 yes, 7 no. Call for the question passes.
Mr. Chairman, I think you have to have a 2/3 majority to have a call for the question that's successful.
I think that's correct.
That being correct, that's not a 2/3 majority. Sir. All right, so the call for the question has failed. Commissioner Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also share the sentiments of Commissioner Baum that we aren't sure what our final revenue numbers are going to be yet, and I have concerns with adding more funds, more tax dollars to a general fund, because we all know exactly what's going to happen with that money. It's going to be spent, every penny, and then next year there's going to be a need for more, and there won't be the option to increase this tax. Now, I said at the steering committee meeting that I would begrudgingly go along with it if the money was designated for debt service. You know, we know what our costs are for that. There's no benefits that go along with it. It's going to be set every year. But I have a hard time increasing revenues for the general fund because it will all be spent and there will be a need for even more next year. The best way to keep the government in check is to limit how much revenue comes into the general fund. But I would like to make a motion that this be sent back to the Budget Committee for further study after the numbers for the next year's budget have come in, and we can make a more educated decision with that information.
Mr. McAdoo, any further discussion?
Point of order, isn't it? Don't we already have a motion on the floor that we have to vote on or not?
He's made a motion, Mr. McQuarrie, that we send this back to budget.
His question is, was there already a motion?
There is already a motion on the floor, yes.
So we've got to dispose of the motion on the floor.
An amendment.
I'm not disputing he could amend it, but he said he made a motion.
He made a motion. He didn't make a motion to amend. So that motion to amend, I mean, the motion is not in place. You have to make a motion to amend. That motion is out of order.
Can he not make a motion to, and I'm not saying I support this in any way, but you can table it or send it somewhere, or I've read my Robert's Rules of Order, but it's been a long time, but this is very doable. You know, you can
table it.
We cannot, our rules do not allow us to table motions or amendments, but we can defer it a month, or I think we can also send it back to a committee. And so my motion was, and if you want to call it an amendment, that's fine, but I would like to send it back to the Budget Committee for further review. And that's, my motion will be then to amend the resolution to send it back to the Budget Committee.
Okay, so do we have a second? Same second?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman, the budget. What are we supposed to do with it, that budget?
I have no idea. All right, we have a motion and amendment. We'll have to vote on the amendment if there's no other discussion. We don't know what budget we'll do with it. Please cast your votes on the amendment.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so. Okay.
We still have several that have not voted. Mr. Jernigan has not voted. And Mr. Johnson. Mr. Nipper. Send it back to budget. If you vote yes, you're sending it back to budget for what action they don't know yet would be in order. We need some technical assistance here. Mr. Jernigan has now voted. And Mr. Johnson has not voted. He has a problem? All right, so Mr. Johnson, we're going to have to, after we vote, we'll ask you to cast your vote verbally so we know how you wish to vote. All right? Record the votes.
7 yes, 12 no, plus Commissioner Johnson's vote would be a no, so 7 yes, 13 no. Motion failed.
To amend has failed. Now we're ready to vote on the motion that we have on the floor. Mr. Schaefer.
I just wanted to mention I was very disappointed in the information that I've gotten, because the people up here that talked just said that it was automatically going to drop the occupancy rates in this county, but I heard nothing about what the occupancy rate was, the average room rates are, what's happened, say, in the last 8 years since the recession started, how much has the prices increased on your own, et cetera, like that. So, you know, there's really, to me, the only thing I really gathered was that it was sales tax versus an income tax, because it was going to be 19.75%. So.
Any other comments? You're ready to vote then on the original resolution to increase the hotel motel tax as the resolution has been read. Please cast your votes. Mr. Johnson, you may vote verbally after we take the vote. Mrs. Cook and Ms. Jernigan, now Mr. Jernigan, Mrs. Cook has not voted yet. Now she has voted.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes, please. Now Mr. Johnson was able to vote with his device. So please record the votes.
15 yes, 4 no, 1 abstain.
Motion has passed. Thank you, Mr. Gooch. Is there any other business to come before this body tonight? Mr. Schaefer.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to mention a place out on Old Salem Road, and I'm sure out there that the people would gladly have any county commissioner or any city councilman or whatever come visit. It's a natural history museum called Earth Experience. They have, well, it's well worth taking your time to go out and see. It's got a lot of different gems. It's also got replicas that have been made to the exact dimensions of some dinosaurs. And they're open from 11 to 4 on Thursday through Sunday. And like I said, I think they'd be happy that any one of y'all here went to visit. They want exposure, and hopefully you would talk. Thank you.
Anyone else have any business? Mr. Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to invite the commissioners and the general public to the Great Tennessee Air Show in Smyrna on June 4th and June 5th next month. And before that, the evening before that, we're going to have an event called Simply Smyrna. Commissioner Allen and Commissioner Stevens and other members of their high society have a good time there. And Smyrna as a whole has a good time there. And it's a good time to get your family out there and be able to experience a lot of what we have in Smyrna and that we're proud of. So we invite you to come up to Smyrna that weekend and have a good time with us. Thank you.
Commissioner Allen.
I forgot to give Commissioner Turner one PS to add to that. Also that same night at the TriStar Medical Center, there's the Taste of Smyrna. So we've got all kinds of fun for you happening that Friday night. The school board has given each of us a copy of the budget. It is 76% of the overall budget, so I would really encourage all of you to go ahead and be reviewing that, take a look at it. We are having a joint meeting with them May 24th at 5:30 at Central Office. It'll be a joint meeting with Health and Ed and Budget. I would highly encourage each of you who can attend to attend that. It's always very informative. And like I said, this is such a significant piece of our budget. I think it's well worth your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else have any announcements? Commissioner Piercy.
Saturday afternoon and night is the Last Cass's Fish Fry. I'd like to invite everyone out from 4 to 8. They do an excellent job. They've had one of the largest crowds last month that they've had in a long time, and that just reflects they've got real good food. So come out and see us.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak? If not, we are adjourned, and thank you very, very much.